Hey, this is Dana with the Freedom Please channel and essenceofme.com. I'm coming on today with a preparation for 2019 type of video. I'm not sure if this is something I want to bring to the channel regularly, but I do believe it'll kind of give a little balance in content. And I also feel like we are a bunch of grown folks on this channel and a lot of being grown is that balance of time and balance of family and how you do it and how do you pursue your goals and how do you balance life. And so part of that for me is in the planners that I use, and for the past probably 2 to 3 years I've been using Erin Condren planners, and for 2019 I'm changing it up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about why, and I'm going to share with you the options that I am going to use to test out this new theory. I'm going to also include some that really are not specific to the calendar year, but more so towards some goals that I have, and I will share that. Part of this video will include the actual planners, the resources that I'm using to help me navigate the content that I document, also Bible journaling, and a long-term project that I'm going to do for Bible study, and not how I'm going to do it, but the tools that I hope that will help me in doing that. If at any time, y'all, this looks crazy and I got my eyes on the wrong spot, you charge it to my head and not my heart, because I like to look right here and not right there. So if you're interested in seeing what I have, then stick around. If not, I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much. And for everyone that's kicking it with me, you know what to do. Stick around to after the intro, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, this is Dana with the Freedom Please channel and essenceofme.com. I believe about 2 years ago that I shared an unboxing with my Erin Condren planner, and I do have a personal channel that I shared it with in detail, but I kind of just want to focus on one channel for 2019. We'll see how that goes. But the reason why I also wanted to bring it here is because I feel like we have a lot of grown women doing grown women things, and a part of that is how we balance our time. You know, how you decide what you place your time to, and when you determine those goals, what's next, right? And this is something that I've done my entire life. Like, I've always been a planner. I got the windows open so you'll hear a whole bunch of stuff. You know, I've always been a planner, but the one thing that has occurred over time is the efficiency of the tools that are being offered to make that happen. And so at the end of last year, I took stock of the fact that my Erin Condren, although I love it and I still use it, I don't think it was the most efficient planner for me. The reason why is because I do not have a set day-to-day schedule. I work from home, and so there may be, you know, maybe 3 or 4 appointments within a given week that are nailed down solid for that week, but that rotates and it changes, and it's not a straight 9 to 5 situation. And there are other things that I kind of would like to track over a duration versus being just for that day or that month. And I just couldn't wrap my head around how to do that. And so at the end of probably the third quarter of this year, I started testing digital planners, and I was mixing the digital for the long-term things or the ongoing projects with my paper, which was for my day-to-day, week-to-week type of progress. And it was okay, but I just felt like I couldn't get with the digital fully. I even tried designing my own, which is something that worked out well, and I had fun doing it. But again, I missed, even though I use the Apple Pen, I missed having the paper to pen motion, and it may be just with the digital, I didn't do a setup that was working for me. Okay, so knowing this, I set in my mind that I was going to be on the lookout for another option for me. And what I normally do is when I make a decision about something like this, I already place in my mind that I'm committing to it for a year. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it makes it so that the thought of exploring something different is off the table, and it frees my brain to think about other things. And so I knew that I was going to finish up my Erin Condren for 2018, and then I was going to look for something else for 2019, and my brain went on the hunt. As I went on the hunt, of course, on YouTube, it's like endless videos about bullet journaling. And I looked at bullet journaling before. It seemed, I guess maybe it's the ones that I like, okay, because I love watching the videos. I just never did it. And so what it seemed like to me, it was more artistic, more creative, mixed with productivity, and my mindset was straight productivity. I'm sitting on a stool, y'all, this is crazy, but my mind was on straight productivity. And because it was on productivity, I was not necessarily for the extra drawing, the extra coloring, and all this other stuff. Even though I like those options, I just have other ways that I express that side of myself. And so I didn't necessarily want it in my planner. I have very hard-hitting, deadline-driven tasks that I'm responsible for. I have teammates that I have to pass things off to by a certain time. And so I just really needed something that would just allow me to be succinct, and so that I would not have to overthink it, and that it could work for me and not against me, or seem like just another thing that I had to do. And so with all of that said, I kept watching videos, and I'm leading up to the unboxings or showing what I came up with. I kept watching videos, and then I stumbled on, and usually what I do is I just go through, do a search, add it to my watch later, and once I sit down to start crocheting or knitting, which I could have showed you a blanket, I'll do another video on the blanket I'm working on, I just hit play, and I just go through all of those things that I have in my watch later to try to kind of help me make a decision, because I'm sitting and just working with my hands. So I end up stumbling upon a review for the bullet journal book, and that intrigued me. What intrigued me about it, it really wasn't the review, because the review wasn't that good in my opinion, but I'm not gonna say who it was. It wasn't helpful. But what intrigued me about the book was the thought that someone had enough content about a method to fill an entire book and to be traditionally published when doing that. And so those things are running through my head as somebody that writes and publishes, right? And so that made me curious, and that curiosity led me to looking at other reviews, and I felt like some of the reviews were okay, but I thought the reviews were more driven to people that were naturally already in the bullet journaling community, and I was not. And so therefore some of the things that they saw wasn't as beneficial to me. So that was number one, that kind of made me feel like bullet journaling may be the tool that I would use. The second part of that came in me knowing that I wasn't certain, well, knowing what didn't work with the Erin Condren. What didn't work with the Erin Condren was that I literally have a lot of space that is being underutilized. And because the space is being underutilized, yes, I go back and I actually fill it in with other stuff so it's used later. But those planners are $50. Just go ahead and just say $50 for a planner. And that can be used somewhere else. Like, I'm a person that has enough hobbies. I can find a way to use $50. Not just, something that I didn't feel like was maybe as efficient. And the other thing was, because I realized for the past 2 years of using the Erin Condren, what worked. Like, one of the things in my Erin Condren that worked was my larger planner. And let me know if you want to see those planners in the comment sections. It's just because those are things that are easy to pull out. But I had a larger one that was really more generally laid out, that I used a lot, but it wasn't on a day-to-day basis, but it worked for tracking big projects and how those big projects were progressing. And I really liked that. So basically I started figuring out what worked and what didn't work. And the last thing that kind of came to mind was something that spilled over from my quiet time. And that was, I made the decision last year that I wanted to work on ongoing Bible journals for my kids. Let me take that back. I was going to say I've never been a journaler, but that's not true. I used to journal in general as a kid. Like, I had notebooks. Like, I'm a person that when I see a nice notebook, I buy it. And then I have all these notebooks. But then there has been a couple of notebooks that have stuck with me for years. And I've showed them, I believe, on this channel before. One is like my journal. And it's more of a life journal, and I don't do it every day, but it's when I need to process stuff, and I need to process it in writing. And the current one that I'm in, I've probably been working in it for a couple of years. Then I have another journal that I've had for a few years, probably more closer to 10, and that's my business journal. That is the only thing that I keep in that journal. And that journal was actually bought for me. And it was one that was so nice that I didn't want to just put anything in it. And I literally transferred notes from old business. Like, I went through my journal where I was processing information, pulled it all into that business journal. And that's the only thing I put in that journal. Like, big projects, big goals, long-term goals in my business. And so that I can always go back and check where I am. And I put updates in that one. And I've had that one for probably, I've done the business journal for probably about maybe 10 years. But I've had that particular one for maybe about 5. And plenty of room. I probably will have it for another 3 to 4 at least. So this was all nuggets of information that came together to help me to see that, okay, part of where I thrive is free-flowing thought, and using the free-flowing thought to systematize what I then do from there, like what the goal is, and then breaking that goal down into working pieces. The connection was missing, though, between that process and what I would do on a week-to-week, day-to-day, quarter-by-quarter basis. In the past, again, the way that gap was kind of filled in was that I would do your best year planner that she would do once a year. And then for 2019, she didn't do it. And that left a huge gap. Now, I could go back and do the old one. But part of the fun of doing my New Year's plans and laying out my goals for the year was getting this fresh new paper journal, paper workbook, working through everything, evaluating last year, forecasting for the new year, redefining my vision, checking in with like all of these checks and balances, and it was missing. And so merging all of this together, it left me at a place where I said, I think the foundation would be in trying bullet journaling, and let that be like the foundation of what I do. And if I run with that analogy, that's the foundation. And so my pillars would be finding a way to take care of my business goals. 1, finding a place to take care of my personal goals. 2, finding a way to kind of handle my spiritual goals. And also, really, it's not just spiritual, it's just something that I really want to do for me and for my kids in a very intimate way. That was number 3. And then the last part is bringing it all together, because my life, because I work for myself, is really, my overarching time is spent with my business stuff. And I also wanted a place where I could start, because of this channel, like I have different projects that I'm working on right now, and then I'll see something really cool that I know I want to do, and then I'll make a note in my phone And then I look in there and it's a million notes because I see all kind of stuff. People say, oh, they give me a pattern, or I see some yarn and I think of something, and then I start sketching out something, and so I'm like everywhere, and I just needed to be like, focus, Dana, focus. So that led me here. 15 minutes. Yeah. So I'm going to show you what I have and what I decided to do so far. Anything that I say here, if you feel like you would like for me to do it in depth, leave a comment below. If you want to see the insides where I can change the angle and show you the insides of these different options, let me know. Especially because I probably will want to do it before I start filling it in. So the first thing that I did is I purchased the bullet journal method by writer Carol. I am still reading this, and so I literally have like a week to finish this. But can I just tell you, this book is phenomenal. It's really good, and it's good. I don't think it's, in my opinion, it's not good for all the reasons that I heard before. But I feel like there's so many videos on bullet journaling that I feel like it emphasizes the flexibility of this method, and that's why there's so many videos on it, because it's very flexible. But on the side of someone that's starting out, he's done the very basic ones, but it was hard for my brain to grasp how you get from being that very, 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 very basic to these very elaborate plan with me stickers and colors and all that stuff, which I love to look at, but to think about seems overwhelming. And I felt like if there was a spectrum between basic bullet journaling to the very beautiful artistic creations that you see on that from 0 to 100, I'm at like, in my brain, 25, So this book has been extremely helpful in understanding why, as a person that has always loved to put paper to pen, why it's valid and why it is helpful for your brain to process information, and why it can help in this day and age when we're inundated with technology and information and all of that. So I'm not even almost done. I'm not even gonna lie. But the great thing is, it looks like towards the back, it's really just spreads and the way that other people have benefited from it. And I'm almost through the meat of setting up my bullet journal, and that'll be something that I do this week. And so this is what I purchased. I bought this on Amazon. It was kind of expensive, but it's totally worth it. If you all want a review on it, let me know. It's hardback. It's been going with me everywhere. I have tabbed it, marked it, everything up, and I'm glad I bought the print version. They do have it in ebook, but I wanted the print version so that I could literally sit without technology and make it happen. So there. Once I got that, then I had to decide how I wanted to start off with bullet journaling, and I decided to go very basic, which was the Lectrum 1917, and I may be saying that wrong. I did get the bullet journal version, and I haven't opened it, but I could do it here. And I haven't put anything in it, as you can see, because I'm taking off the plastic. And I just wanted something that was going to be sturdy. I wanted the size to be perfect for fitting in my purse. And I have a feeling that I probably will not stick to the bullet journal version, but that I may go to the general 1917 Lectrum. But I wanted something that could be fileable. That's one of the things that I've loved about my business journal, is that it stays in the same spot. And I was like, if I do this every year, or at most, I don't think I will get through 2 of these a year, but at most, let's say 2 a year, then that means I can kind of have them indexed, and I can go back and look at my business plans and everything. And it's almost like this would be the hub for my life. And so here it is. You can see the emboss of bullet journal. It's hard to see because of my lighting. But I didn't want the ring lights showing in my glasses. And so, yeah, dot grid. I knew I wanted the dot grid. I liked the fact in the beginning that this version does give you the instructions on how to do the bullet journal in its simplest terms. But I personally would not replace the actual book for the notes that are in here. That's great, but I think it'll be more as a refresher as someone that's just starting out. The next, so that's going to be life, scheduling, business goals, like in general. And the next thing that I wanted to do was my current journal that I've had for probably about a little under 10 years. I'm finishing it up. There's some big goals that I had this year that kind of felt like I was ready to phase out of that journal, and I only had a little bit left in it. So I'm actually filling the pages with some different things now. But I wanted a fresh start on my journal. Again, this kind of went back to the fact that I decided that I wanted to do a Bible journal for each of my kids, for all three of my kids. And I needed to have somewhere to start collecting my thoughts, even though I don't get to write in them every day. And if you all want to hear more about that, like it's a very ambitious goal, I know. But I just was overwhelmed with this feeling of passing something on. Like, we can tell things to our kids, and maybe it's because my kids are grown now that I feel like you don't get until you've gone through some things. Like, they hear you, but they don't hear you, so they hit a snag. And I wanted to be able to hopefully enter that space with some godly wisdom, and also to do it from a place of being very open-hearted, and that they can always go back to and reference. And so I'm just starting on that process, but I'm being very prayerful that it's something that they enjoy, and I think they will. I really think they will. And so it's an ongoing project. So I'm giving myself at a minimum like 5 years to do that. But with that said, I needed a place to be able to be honest and open with myself as I'm growing, and have a place where I can keep, whether it's my quotes or what's going on right now, and to really journal like I used to as I push myself to a new space in my life. So with that said, I did a lot of research on different journals. I knew that I wanted something that had a very long shelf life, because my journals last a long time. I wanted something beautiful, maybe shallow, but I wanted something that when I sit down with it, I feel like I'm having an experience. And I did a lot of research, and I stumbled upon this. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Jofalo, I don't know, so I'm not going to say. I'm just going to hold it up. And I actually haven't opened it, so I'm going to open it for the first time here. I'm just tossing everything everywhere. Let me know if you have any questions and what you all think about like these very ambitious ideas. So one of the things that I loved about it is that it does come in a gift box. I don't want it to gift. I want it to be able to store. One of the pictures that was in my mind as I went through this process of selecting the items that I wanted is, as a child in my grandmother's house, in her den, we had a den. I guess now they call it a family room. We had a den, and she had this bookshelf that was full of encyclopedias. And I'm not that old. I know y'all remember the encyclopedias that the door-to-door salesmen used to come around and sell. But my grandmother had a wall of encyclopedias, and that was one of the things that always stuck in my mind. Like, I love bookcases. I love bookcases full of books. I love bookcases full of books that I have read and that I can look at, and I know it has documented a date and time in my life. Like, I used to remember, even though those weren't personal books, I used to remember when I was a kid, and I used to go back and look at them, or how we used to do things and pretend, and just was very fond memories. So when I bought these different items, I wanted stuff that could be placed on a shelf, that can be pulled by date and time, and that it would be a clear indication of where I am in that day and at that time, even if it's just for, whether it's my kids or whatever, or even just for myself later. And so that was important. It did maybe cost another $10 or $15 to get the box, but I feel like it's going to be well worth it, because I can on the outside mark, or even here later mark the year, and then eventually the volume or the date range on the box. So let me show you. The box opens this way. I think it was in there backwards, and the journal was inside, and it was wrapped up in plastic. And then here's the journal. This wraps around. It's handcrafted leather journal. And you hear my dog outside, she hears me. And the inside is plain paper. And because I wanted the box, it also came with a pen. These just heavier paper. This is a natural like cream color paper, and the pen. And there is also a pen loop on the inside. So this will be the journal that I use in the mornings or evenings to document stuff. What I really kind of sold me on this is the fact that it's refillable. Even though it does look like it's going to be a complicated task. But there's 5 books in here, and I think it equals like around 300 pages or something like that. So I'm looking forward to that. With that, I also, I'm trying to make sure the pen fits. Oh, it does. Oh, it's, you know, the way leather is, it's kind of just tight. It just needs to be lived in a little bit. Oh, there it is. There we go. Like this. It smells like, oh, like real leather. Okay. So that is what I'll journal in, personal journaling. And then the last thing, oh, they also had lined paper, and I went ahead and purchased some. My mind was that maybe I would want to go in here and take out maybe 2 of the booklets and place in lined paper. But for now, I'm going to wait. The sizing on this is 5x7. I'm going to wait just for a little bit and figure out how I want to do it and think about it. But yeah, so here's the paper. It's lined paper, that same cream color. Then the last thing, again, this is all stuff, ooh, don't want a paper cut. I've been gathering for a couple of months. And the very last thing, which is actually going to go towards the project that I told you about for my kids, is that I bought this Journal Rules professional notebook. This is going to be where I strictly put Bible study notes as I study, and any kind of all of that. Again, my mindset was on wanting something that can be cataloged and that can be saved for later. And this size is 256 pages. I got this at Office Depot, and its Markings is the brand, and I believe this is like 8.5 by 10. I don't know, it doesn't say. But let me know if you would like a detailed look inside once, especially once I have actual notes in there, because again, everything is fresh. So it's like kind of starting everything new, but at the same time, it's going to be an extension of what I've already done, just in new resources. So this was the final journal. I hope that this gave you some options, maybe even put in some questions in your mind about how you conduct your day-to-day life, and as far as whether it's planning or organizing your task that you do, and how you utilize the day-to-day things you do to build to something bigger. To me, part of this is in what I'm looking at for the year, but really it's about this idea of building this legacy, and not just in finances for our family, but as in thought and who we are and what we believe. And the more you, whether it's research or you read, you realize how many people that are people of, whether it's affluence or people that have dictated and shifted the paradigm in our culture, have been people that have journaled and that have cataloged what they were doing in their lives on a consistent basis. And to me, that says that we all need a place where we feel free and comfortable to address the things that are going on in our heads, and to push ourselves in a new direction, especially when that direction may not be something that you're accustomed to, and or something that is a norm for your family. And so I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, place them below. If you haven't done so already, thumbs up the video, leave your comments or questions below, and let me know if you want to see anything on the inside or if you want me to expand on anything. With all that said, take care and have a fantastic day. I will see you all hopefully sooner than later. Take care and goodbye.